Has the direction to the show surprised you, like how it's evolved over the course of the 3 years?
Absolutely. If you told me after even the pilot, if what we were doing now, I'd be like, well, that's... How did we get... I wouldn't know how we possibly could have gotten from A to B. But I think Jason and the writers did such a great job of doing just that. Like, it is so incredible that we can get from where we were in the beginning to where we are now and have it make sense, and I think it does. It's great.
What are you most excited for fans to see with your character in the upcoming season? Because it seems like very doomsday.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, we're about to start shooting soon, so I'm kind of excited to see what I can expect from my character coming up. But as far as what the fans can expect from Murphy, I mean, even in the face of... I mean, he doesn't know about the Doomsday thing yet. I'm sure he will eventually, probably. We all must know eventually.
Clarke got pretty close in the last few episodes of...
We did. I think we found a newfound respect for one another, Murphy and Clarke. And Murphy and Bellamy, too. Like, I think we're all kind of... Again, I think that's the other characters understanding him a little bit better and thinking, like, okay, well, maybe we had this guy wrong. I don't blame them for having him wrong, though. I mean, he did what he did. There's no escaping that, but I think he had his reasons at the time.
Yeah, from season 1 to now, the dynamic of your character's whole metamorphosis has just been dramatic, and I really have enjoyed seeing Murphy's character this season because he battled with himself and figuring out, should I help them, should I not help them, should I help myself?
Kind of that, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, we'll probably see a little bit more of that inner turmoil of just kind of being like, should I be doing the right thing because I know it's the right thing, or should I be looking after myself, or more importantly now, should I be looking after Maury and all that? So I think we'll probably see a little bit more of that.
All right,
Thank you guys so much.
The organic way that your relationship with Abby kind of blossoming and stuff was very realistic. Did you like the way that they wrote the gradual effect of your... Because at the beginning of the season 1, you two were butting heads a lot.
Yes.
So over the course of the few seasons, it's been kind of a gradual coming together. So did you like that graduality of it?
So much so, it took me by surprise. I didn't know it was happening. I was like, I do? Okay. But I'm glad you said it was realistic, because I guess there was tension there. I just didn't realize it was sexual. So
yeah, because in the very beginning of season 1, with you being...
we were always loggerheads.
Jaha being Chancellor, you kind of being his right hand. You know, the ideals that you and Jaha had weren't kind of meshing with what Abby was kind of thinking. And then as season 2 progressed, and then towards season 3...
I think Kane probably changed a bit. You know, he was a bit more right-wing at the beginning, and now he's gone a little bit liberal since he's landed on the ground, and maybe that's what's changed. You know, but he's certainly changed a lot. Has Abby changed? I think she's been pretty constant.
Yeah, she's been pretty consistent. Yeah, your character.
So I've changed a lot, so maybe it was me. It was me.
And then at the very end of season 3, you and Indra kind of bonded a little bit.
Yes, you think there's something there?
Yeah, so...
Am I doing it with Indra as well?
When the explosion happened.
Oh yeah, she saved my life.
Yeah.
No, we're good friends. I think that storylines we're going to be. I like that relationship.
Yeah.
Where I think we respect and I hope trust each other.
I do hope I see some more of that.
Yeah.
The end of season 3 was pretty dramatic. Huge debacle that's going to be happening for season 4. What can you tell us about the evolution of that particular storyline? How you came up with that?
I'm not quite I don't remember how I came up with it. I feel like, we always like to tee up the next big problem or story at the end of the previous season. And we always like to change it up every season. For me, one of the reasons is it keeps it interesting creatively to always be writing a different story with these characters that we all love. So season 1 was the origin story, and season 2 was mild weather, and season 3 was the AI, and season 4 is the ground strikes back, really. The earth strikes back. And we'll see the atmosphere deteriorating. We'll see nature acting in really crazy, scary ways. And eventually, it'll be clear to our heroes that there is no stopping it. It's only how do we survive. And of course, then it'll be there's not enough lifeboats, and how do we decide who gets to live and who gets to die, and do they deserve to survive is a big sort of theme of the season. And in many ways it's kind of getting back to what the original concept of the show was. On the Ark, it was the same thing. It was, we have this spaceship that's dying and there's not enough oxygen, and they sent the 100 to the ground to make more oxygen for the rest of them. And so in some ways it's getting back to that while telling a totally different story.
Fan question, how many new Grounder clans will we meet in season 4?
How many new Grounder clans? Well, I think all of the clans have been on camera at some point or another, but we definitely are going to meet or get to know someone from, it's called Trishana Crew, which is like Tree Shine. It's the Glow Forest clan. And so we meet a very important character from Trishana Crew in the premiere, and he'll play a big role in the season.
Are you happy with the character progression from season 1 to now for Raven? Because it's been such a dramatic change in who she was from season 1 to now.
You know what? Sometimes it's a little tough because I love the swag that Raven came in with. She's tackling bitches. She put a knife on Bellamy, back off, which I love. And you really, but that was her arc. Her arc was to find vulnerability and was to find obstacles and challenges that she couldn't instantly pass with flying colors, that really challenged her. So that was her arc. And it was really hard for me last season. I mean, personally, I was going through a lot of things in my family, and it was hard to play such a depressing, thinking about it still works me up. Playing such a depressing storyline. You're so dark, and to the point to where she gives her mind away just to escape it. It's a little suicidal in a sense. She like a mind sweep, But with all that said, I am now so grateful for it, because now I feel like Raven is stronger than ever. Like I mentioned before, mentally with the Ally upgrade, she's more brilliant than she's ever been, and then emotionally and spiritually and even physically, she's gone to hell and back. And she fucking made it out. So, ain't nothing can stop her now. You know what I mean? Nothing deters her the way it did before. She sees it in a different light. So it's like an evolution for her.
Definitely. And then speaking of previously, when you were talking about what you were going through at WonderCon, you mentioned something about Space Camp. Did they ever get back to you?
They did get back to me. And they told me to email them, and I emailed them. Of course, I emailed them late. But they're like, yeah, Lindsey, totally email us. And so I emailed them, and they haven't responded yet. So I'm thinking maybe just find another way in.
Yeah.
But they were completely responsive. So guys, just tweet people. You never know. That's the lesson. Space Camp, your dreams can still come true.
Octavia had a very rough season last season.
Yeah, did she ever?
Yeah.
Octavia needs a drink. Yeah.
What can you tell us about your thought process in going through that kind of transition with her character? Because she seems so angry most of the time, and then her and Lincoln were such on the outs because she wanted to be more with the Grounders, and he was trying to find a balance between the arcs and the Grounders together.
Yeah, it was weird because Lincoln and Octavia were kind of on opposing sides. He wanted to stay, she wanted to go. But she saw how bad the Grounders were getting mistreated, especially under Pike's dictatorship, so she knew it wasn't going to be a safe place for him. And she's never felt safe among those people, ever, especially being raised underneath the floor and floating their mother. And Octavia's always been an outsider. She's never quite belonged anywhere. I didn't know where she belonged. The fandom and the viewership really sort of watched her evolve into a young woman from the girl that you saw land on the earth in season 1. She's changed so much, which has been such a pleasure to play her, because at least it's not, kind of boring at one level. She's always on some like ridiculous emotional journey somehow, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, this was a really hard season for Octavia because of Lincoln's death. The only man that's ever believed in her, the tragic way it ended, but it was also sort of like a beautiful tragedy all at the same time. They started and ended their relationship and their journey sort of like in a complete circle. They were always making these like immense sacrifices for one another, and that's exactly how it ended. So the forbidden romance that was them ended in the most sort of beautiful way, it's sort of Shakespearean almost. It was hard for Octavia after that. When her world just came down on her, she felt completely alone. And then she had to fight the war with Pike. So it's that old school saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, and that's what she had to do. She's such an emotionally impulsive girl, so she doesn't always make the right decisions. When she lets her head get the best of her. I mean, I know I do that sometimes, probably every 28 days. So when she slashed Pike's leg, when she needed him to fight the war against Allie, that was a huge mistake. But he eventually got the revenge that she wanted to give him. Octavia killed Pike in the finale. She thought that would band-aid the giant hole in her heart, but of course it doesn't. And you're going to see her take a really dark journey and path next season. She'll become an assassin with a group of people you're very familiar with. Can't tell you who. And she's going to do what she does best, which is kill people quickly and efficiently. Yeah.
So her relationship with Indra, will it get closer?
Well, she's headed off somewhere in the finale. My guess, if I were a fan, would be to find Indra, the only other one that really has been there to support her since day one, because Indra was left on the cross. So you'll have to tune in and see how that goes. See if Indra's okay or not, hopefully.
Will she ultimately be able to repair her relationship?
Interacted with Murphy for the longest that she ever has too. So how are your relationships going to continue to evolve going forward? Maybe not just your romantic relationships, but just your characters' relationships in general, each other, with all the characters that you.
How do you think you and Hopper are gonna?
Thanks, Eliza. Well,
Nice to talk.
We've all seen my romantic stuff. Let's go to you.
It might be conflict of interest because he and Jasper are finally in a hopeful place, but then he's also starting this new relationship with Harper. He's never had another female to distract him. Jasper was his female, so now how does that work moving forward? I don't know. What do you think? Who's he going to choose?
It's a hell of a triangle.
Who would you choose? Harper or Jasper?
I mean, I always love you and Jasper together.
Okay.
I've always
That's nice. I know, there's a lot more history there.
There is. Every time anyone asks me who I would play if I wasn't Clarke, I either say Monty or Jasper.
Which do you say more than?
Hey?
Which do you say more than?
Monty.
Okay, thanks. Awesome.
It's true.
Jason said there's essentially going to be too few lifeboats for the next apocalypse.
The next apocalypse. Great. Isn't it a nice show? It's happy, right?
Is Clarke going to regret her decision to destroy the City of Light, or?
I think there's going to be a lot of fucking conflict there. Pardon my French. I think there's going to be, there's going to be a lot of people very angry at her for giving them back their pain. You're welcome. World. We were living in this perfect place, and now you've just made us realize all the horrible things we've done. So I think for that, she's going to feel very overwhelmed and horrified. It was a very hard decision to make, but ultimately the right one, and she has to know that in her heart in order to not kill herself. And we'll just see how it goes.
You pulled two levers then.
I pulled two. That's enough levers, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, they were a little too similar.
Spoiler,
if you know what I mean.
no levers.
Season 4, spoiler, no levers.
Sorry.
Thank you
All right,
so much.
thank you so much. Thank you.